My name is Kawther Hashim. I'm a registered nutritionist, and this is Nutri-Facts, your weekly dose of advice on nutrition and diet. So there are many different types of oils in our diet, and I predominantly try to suggest that you avoid fats, so those that are solid at room temperature, and opt for ones that are oils. When cooking, I prefer that you would opt for something like rapeseed oil, which is usually labeled as vegetable oil in supermarkets, but if you turn it around, it would say rapeseed oil. That one has the lowest amount of saturated fats, which are the types of fats we need to be reducing in our diet. And also there are if you want to add it to a salad dressing, then I would suggest you opt for like an olive oil, which is preferable. And as much as possible, try to cut down on fats that are on meat. So you kind of cut the fats off red meat as much as possible, because these are the types of fats we need to be reducing in our diet. Usually, if you've made a cake, you know that you kind of add a lot of butter to it, and butter is the type of fats we need to be limiting in our diet. So when it comes to cakes, biscuits, these are the types of foods we need to be limiting, because usually they have huge amounts of fat and therefore are quite calorific and energy dense. And if you're a person that's trying to lose weight, for example, these are the type of foods you need to be limiting as much as possible. But also we need to be aware that we kind of do need some fats in our diet, because there are fat-soluble vitamins that you only can really absorb by eating fats, and they're usually within like different types of oils. So it's also important to have some sort of fats in your diet. As much as possible, you need to go for the ones that are unsaturated fats. That is preferable. So there are, for example, people often don't realize that some yogurts and some dairy products tend to be quite high in fats, and as much as possible opt for ones that are plain versions, so a plain version of yogurt, but it's a lower fat version. So it's usually labeled in supermarkets as a low fat version, and that's more preferable than the flavored ones, which tend to have high amounts of sugar too. So as much as possible, opt for the ones that are lower in fat. So when you're going to the supermarket, often you're looking at low-fat versions because you're trying to reduce the amount of fat you're having in your diet. But I think what you need to be aware of is that some of these products tend to be high in sugar. So you don't want to be choosing a product that is labeled low-fat, but it's flavored with too much sugar. So for example, a strawberry low-fat yogurt is one example of this. And what I would advise is, instead of going for the flavored version, is you opt for the low-fat plain yogurt and adding fresh strawberries yourself, and that would be a much healthier option for you. Coconut oil is one example of a type of oil that has become increasingly popular and that many people are using in their diet. Unfortunately, I tend to advise people to reduce the amount that they're eating of, because it tends to be high in saturated fat. So just like similar to butter, it kind of has a similar structure in terms of fats to butter. Just like that butter tends to be not a healthy option, coconut oil is kind of very similar. You can use a small amount, that's fine, but actually if you're using it as your regular option, I would very much discourage that, and you should be opting for rapeseed oil or vegetable oil in your cooking more.